right, y'all, for this craft, we are actually going to be doing some baking. We are going to make Santa's milk and cookies, and we're going to be using some real ingredients, but we're making, of course, they're going to be faux cookies and faux milk in our cute little primitive farmhouse jugs. I'm just going to be adding some cute little Christmas labels on those. So I'm really excited about this craft. I've been looking forward to doing it for a while, and so excited I finally get to do it for our fun Christmas in July series. The cutest little country Christmas. The cutest little country Christmas. Yes, that's it, in July. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started. I have our ingredients here. Let me position our camera. Okay, so we got our mixing bowl here. We're gonna start out with 2 cups of flour. Okay, so this is just a little 1/2 cup measure. And I'm not too exact with this. Even when it comes to my real cooking, I'm not too exact. Okay, so there's our flour. We actually need a whole cup of salt. So just, you know, that cheap salt you can get at your grocery store. We need a whole cup because we want these cookies to be good and preserved. I actually used up the rest of my salt here, and I'm not quite getting a whole cup, but I think it will be fine. Okay, you can use, we've got our seasonings here. You can use cinnamon, you can use clove, let's see what else, ginger, is that it? So I have cinnamon, and I also have, this is 5 spice, and if you're not familiar with it, the ingredients are cinnamon, anise, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, dextrose, ginger, so our ginger is in here. We also have nutmeg in here, and we have cloves in here. So not sure, yeah, you can see those ingredients there. So I'm actually going to be using this and cinnamon. Cinnamon is in here, but I just want to use some extra cinnamon. Okay, let me grab me a spoon. Okay, I'm just going to use my spoon here. This is a tablespoon, but I'm just going to, of course, not put as much. Let me see. Here, this is a brand new. No, it's not. I didn't think it was open already. Okay, again, this does not have to be exact, so I wrote everything down right here so I wouldn't forget while I was going. So it calls for a 1/4 cup of cinnamon. 1/4 cup? No. Well, it does. I am not going to put that much cinnamon in there. I will just do a full tablespoon of cinnamon. What it is, that's going to achieve your brownish color because we're wanting to mimic like gingerbread cookies. But I'm going to show you a little trick you can do where you don't have to use as much cinnamon. And then it calls for 2 teaspoons of clove and 1 tablespoon of ginger. So being we're just using our allspice here. Here, let me take this lid off. I am going to just do 2 good tablespoons of our 5 spice. And they can be heaping, they don't have to be exact. Okay, let me just see, that's tinting that brown already. I think I'll just add a little more cinnamon in there. I'm just not exact when it comes to cooking and baking. Not even for fake food. Okay, so now is when we're going to start adding our water. But instead of water, I was mixing up a fresh batch of coffee grunge mix. Okay, I've already got my hot water. I've added my vanilla and my cinnamon. So now I'm going to add in my instant coffee. And my instant coffee, the last time I mixed some up, I left my lid off. And I guess it sort of got some moisture to it. And it's trying to clump up on me, so. But it'll still mix up fine. Okay, I'm just going to get our coffee grunge mixed up, and I'm actually going to use coffee grunge instead of water. Well, I take that back. I am going to use some water, but I'm going to use half coffee grunge, half water for our cookie mixture. And we're just going to sort of, these are just going to sort of be like faux gingerbread cookies, I guess you could say, with a sprinkle of cinnamon on top. Is how we're going to do ours. Alright, let me finish getting this mixed up, and then we'll be ready to pour it into our flour mixture. Alright guys, I've got our coffee grunge good and mixed up. You can see how it's sort of foamy at the top. That means it's good to go. Alright, so now we're going to add, I'm going to add about half. This is a 2-cup jar. So I'm going to add about half of this. Actually, not yet. I'm going to start, let's see, probably about a quarter of my jar of coffee grunge. Okay. And let's see. I guess I'll just use this spoon. I'm going to start mixing this in. That coffee grunge. And we want to get like a Play-Doh consistency. And sort of like the same consistency that you get when you make regular cookies. Just that doughy feel. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of water. That was probably about a quarter of a cup. Okay, guys. Now, it's getting there. And once you mix a little while, you can get your hands in it. Just like you do regular dough. Just get your hands all in it. And get that feel. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of cinnamon. Because I want a little bit of a darker color. And I'll just add a tad more of our grunge mix. Okay. It's almost to the point where I'm going to get my hands in it. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and dump out our dough. And get our hands in it just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just kneading this kind of like real dough because we want to get all that flour mixed in. And you can kind of tell, like, if your dough's too sticky, you can add a little more flour. If it's too doughy, you can add some more water or coffee grunge. Okay. Now I'm just going to kind of, I'm also working, I've got just a piece of wax paper, just kitchen wax paper, you know, that you would normally make your cookies on. Okay, so I got my rolling pin. Get it nice. And you also kind of want your cookies a little bit thicker than you would normally a real cookie. You want it to be, well, it's really your preference. You could do like 1/4 of an inch thick, even up to 1/2 of an inch would be a good thickness. And just remember, we are going to have to bake these just like real cookies. And we bake them on 250 Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake them about an hour. And the thicker that they are, you would have to bake them longer. So if you want yours any thicker than like 1/2 of an inch, 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch, you would need to bake yours, you know, a little longer. Alright guys, I'm just trying to kind of go ahead and get my cookies as thick as I want them. And I've just got my cookie cutters. I've just got regular plain cookie cutters. I've got a cute little gingerbread man we're going to be using. And then I've got a little star. I thought the star would be cute and primitive. I wish these were a little smaller, so I could make more cookies, because actually, guys, this is just not really a lot of cookie dough, is it? Especially that big star, it's gonna like take a lot of room, but it's okay. So we can do a star. Well, guys, probably should have put some flour on my little. Now, see, we have our star cookie. I will do a little gingerbread man. And there we go. So I'm going to do a couple more real quick. Alright guys, we ended up getting a good amount of cookies with our dough. I was excited because at first I didn't think we were going to get that many cookies. And we just had a little bit of dough left, so I just made a little circle with that one. So I'm just going to place these on a regular baking pan. Uh-oh, I gotta be careful getting these cookies off. I've kind of let them lay here a few minutes. I had to pause for a little bit and do some other things. And I might have should have, I don't know why I just didn't go ahead and get these in the oven before I did all that. Because they're going to have to bake about an hour. But the good thing is, after that, they'll be pretty much done, except when they come out the oven, I'm going to want to dab on some of our coffee grunge mix over these. And then they will be completely done. And I'm trying to kind of, if I have any boo-boos on any of them, I'm kind of trying to fix them before I put them in the oven. Alright, and with these cookies, like whatever shape they are going in, that's the shape they'll be when they come out. They're not going to rise or expand or anything. And if we get some cracks, it's okay, because that'll just make them look a little more primitive. And also we can dab our finger in some water and just kind of rub over those cracks to sort of fix them. But I'm not going to really worry about the cracks too much, because I like that primitive look. And to me, you get more of that you get more of that look when they're, you know, a little bit cracked up. But I will fix them just a little bit. And there, I don't know if my fingernail hit it or what, but I've got a little indentation in my little gingerbread man's feet. Alright guys, well I think our cookies look mighty real. What do you guys think? So again, these are going to go in the oven on 250 for an hour. So we're going to get these cookies in the oven, and then we're going to get started on Santa's milk. Alright y'all, moving on to Santa's milk. We have here these smaller, I think they're like the 9-ounce little Starbucks coffee jars. I do love coffee, and I'll normally pick these little coffees up, and I do not throw away my jars because they make the cutest little crafts. You can make all sorts of things with these little jars. So we're going to use these to make Santa's milk with. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just rubbing our jars with some rubbing alcohol, and this just removes any oils or grease from your hands, fingerprints, because we are going to be painting our jars, and this just helps removing those oils and things from our hand fingerprints. Just helps our chalk paint adhere better to our glass surfaces. Or you can also do this with ceramics or any shiny surface. It's just a great technique to do. Alright guys, I have the cutest little Santa's milk label I purchased off of an Etsy shop, and I have printed. I've made 4 copies here since we have our 4 jars, or little milk jugs. And I can't remember right off which shop I purchased it from, but if I remember, I will put that in the description box below. And if I happen to forget to put it in the description, just comment and ask me, and I will gladly let you know which shop these came from. So I think instead of just a straight edge cut, I'm going to feather these and just kind of tear them out. And 2 of these I'm going to do sort of vintage, and then the other 2 I'm just going to do you know, just regular like, you know, just white and not. The vintage one, I'm going to use my coffee grunge to kind of stain the label. And I may stain the milk jar just a tad. I mean, you know, we want white milk, but it'll just sort of look like our jar is a little bit grungy. Just to give us that vintage look, that more of a primitive style. So I think as of right now, that's what I'm going to do. Not unless I get going and just decide to do them all antique style. I just love that style. I love vintage and antique and old and worn. I rarely like for something to look new. So that's my plan as of right now. So I'm just going to get these labels torn out just like I'm doing when you go around them and wet them. And if you don't want that vintagey look, then you just can dip your brush into plain water and wet your label, and then you can tear it out that way. Or if you would rather have that straight edge cut, then you just cut these out with your scissors. So it's just all depends on that look that you are trying to achieve, and you just go with that. And that's that, guys. We got all of our labels. These are the two we did with the coffee grunge, and see, these two I just did with water, and they're still good and white, no stain on there. So if that's the look you like. Now once we get these Mod Podged on our milk jugs, I'm going to lightly go over them with our coffee grunge mix just to get them stained up a little bit. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I've got our Mod Podge here and just a regular paintbrush. Now I'm going to apply, let's see, I'm going to first of all just apply our Mod Podge over the front of our jar where our label is going to go, and to the sides because our labels are bigger than the front of the jar. And you can trim them down if you don't want the label going like on the side of the jar like these are going to do. You can trim them down. You can trim them to fit your jar or your piece how you want it to. But I think for this project, I want the labels to go across, overlap on the sides as well, and not just be on the front. Okay, so I've pretty much got that front covered. Now I'll just go with my label, and I want to be sure it's straight on the front. Just get that applied, and okay, I'm just making sure my Mod Podge. Let me add a little more to this side. Just making sure it's going to be on that entire area, and I'm just going to gently press that label down into the Mod Podge. And being these are vintage jars, I do not mind a few wrinkles. Now if you don't want wrinkles, there are several things you can do. You can actually take a piece of saran wrap and just ball it up and rub it over your wrinkles. And that is a good way. That's probably about the only thing you could do with this jar, since it's now if this were a straight edge, you could lay like freezer paper or something over it, and then iron it and put your iron on like a medium setting with no steam and go over that, and then that would, you know, get the wrinkles out. Okay, and as you see, I'm just coating the rest of my jar with Mod Podge. That is just going to help our paint, our chalk paint, adhere. It's just a little technique I like to do with glass jars like this. I either like to spray paint them with just regular paint for a primer, or either Mod Podge the entire thing. I think I hear cookies in there going off. Okay guys, I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to set it over here to the side. I'm going to get the rest of these labels on and also go check on our cookies. Okay, we're getting ready to paint our jars, but I just wanted to, I have a bowl here. This is just some dried paint. I just reuse my little paint bowls and stuff. This is some strips that I've torn of cheesecloth. I'm just going to put in this bowl, and I am going to put some coffee grunge over this just to stain it. I just want to stain this for our, like, to wrap our cookies in. Once our cookies get done, they're almost done, by the way. They've just got a few more minutes to bake, and in my kitchen it actually smells like I am baking gingerbread cookies. So it is smelling good in my kitchen. It's smelling like Christmas. But I'm just soaking these in here because I just want these to be stained. And I'm just going to get this color all over, and then I will just lay these under a fan and they'll dry, and then we can use them to wrap our little cookies in. Alright, now we're ready to start painting our jars. And just to give you an FYI with our Mod Podge technique that we did, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, that will cause our paint to crackle. That will give our paint a crackling effect. So if you do not want that crackling effect, then you may just want to prime your jars with a spray paint, or, you know, some sort of primer. But being I want the vintage primitive look with these, I was, you know, wanting to go for that crackle in my paint. So I did want to add that. So we're just, this is I'm using chalk paint. This is the color Plaster in the Waverly. And I'm just coating our jars with our chalk paint, and I'm going to need 2 coats. So I'm just going to finish getting our jars painted and let those dry really well, and then I'll just go with a second coat. Alright guys, it's the next day. I let our milk jars dry overnight, and I was going to go and do a second coat on them with our white chalk paint, and I just wanted to show you how our jars are having a crackle effect. Now this is just the first coat, but I just wanted you to see how that Mod Podge underneath will give it that crackle. And I like that look, but if you don't like that look, that's what I was saying, you may want to just do the spray paint technique to help prime your jars. So I'm just going and doing a second coat right now on my jars, and I'm gonna let that dry really well, and then we'll go from there for our next step. All right, all done with that, and I wanted to show you our cookies. They are all done. Look how good our cookies look. I mean, they look so good. So now we're going to, let me fix my camera. All right, we are going to get a little bit of our coffee grunge mix onto our cookies. So let me get this over here. All right. Just get our coffee grunge mix good mixed up. And we're just going to take some and just dab right over our cookies. And that's just gonna darken them a little bit. Also just help kind of set them and give an even yummier smell. And just in case I forget to get it on camera, once our coffee grunge mix dries, we're going to actually seal our cookies. You can use Mod Podge, just straight Mod Podge out the jar, or you can use the spray matte sealer or glossy sealer, whichever. Or any kind of spray sealer, really. All right, y'all, I have decided to paint my little lids reds. I'm going to be using the color Crimson in the Waverly, and I just wanted to show you our cute bottles. I wanted to show you how our paint still crackled even with that second coat. I just love that look. I think that is so pretty. So I took my coffee jar lids outside and I just gave them a little spray with some white spray paint just to get them primed up. And now I'm just going to paint a couple of coats of our red on them, let them dry really well. And then I just have some of this cute red and white checked ribbon. We will embellish the top of our jars. I think I'm just going to make a little ribbon strip bow, tie it in the middle, and then I've got some really cute little rusted like jingle bells that I ordered from Amazon. I may tie some and let hang from a piece of jute string or something like that. So let's just go ahead and get these lids painted red. Okay, and I still want to take our grungy coffee grunge mix and just run over. I just want to try doing you know, one of the labels, the antique. This is one of the ones that we actually used our coffee grunge to tear our label, you know, to fit off of our printer paper. So I'm just brushing on some of our coffee grunge over our label. Just brushing it right over. Just to give it that more of a primitive look. I think I'm going to also just run some over my entire jar. Okay. I'm liking that look so far. And I just wanted to have, you know, some variety. Have some just more antique looking, and then just have some that, you know, were more white. Because even our white color is really an off-white. That plaster color is more of a, just an off-white. It's not a real bright, stark white. That's why I really love that color. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do another one just like this. And then I'll have two like this and two just the regular, how they are now. And then we'll just let them dry really well. And then we'll be able to do our ribbon. Alright guys, we're going to finish up this little Christmas craft here. So our lids are dry, so I'm just going to put them back on. And I've got some ribbon strips cut and ready to go. I wanted to show you how our coffee grunged Santa jugs turned out. I really like how those turned out as well. And the other one, I ended up putting a little more on it. And I went down to the bottom of my coffee grunge jar and got some of that cinnamon. And I really like that look. I think my favorite. Which one is your favorite? And this one's really cute too. But I just love the old vintage look so much. Alright, and I also have these cute rusty stars as well. I got these off of Amazon, and I got the little bells off of Amazon. So I'm just going to take, you've seen me make these bows before. You just crisscross your ribbon strips, and you can use whatever colors you want, whatever ribbon you want. And then we're just going to take our jute twine and tie our bow. And I do want to go ahead and put a jingle bell on. But you know what? I may let my jingle bell hang because I want a star to be in the middle of our bow on our jar like this. And these are going to match our star cookies that we made. So that's going to be really cute. That, guys, I love how these turned out. They are just too cute. Now to display our little milk jugs and cookies, I have several of these little baskets that I thrifted. I thought about maybe putting a couple of cookies kind of like that in the little basket, and then just sit the milk by it like that. Or also, just showing you like some different ways. If you have a little tray, like I have this tray, you could sit the milk on one side, and then just sort of display the cookies on this side, like make a little platter like that. How cute is that, you guys? I just love this so much. Also, I have cut some strips of ribbon here. I was also thinking, like, if you wanted to stack, like make a little cookie stack, you could do that. And then just like wrap the ribbon around. Hang on. Trying to be careful with these. Let me see if I can do a double knot. There. Sort of like that. See how cute that is? And also, like, I think to, you know, to glue like the little star on, or the little bell, like right in the center, would be really cute. Let's see. See that, guys? That is just so cute. And then you could even, you know, put that in a basket, little basket as well, or sit it on the tray. Also, I just love it, guys. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. One more thing I forgot about our little cheesecloth that we sewed. I just took 2 of the little gingerbread men and stacked, and then wrapped them with a piece of the cheesecloth. And how cute is it to add one of our rusty stars on top of that? I love it.